It's official. Living in Michigan is literally becoming impossible. And in 2025, I think we're in for a lot of people leaving the state of Michigan. More people leaving than I think are going to be coming into the state. So question becomes is why is that? And in today's video, that's exactly what I'm going to go over. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I'm seeing. And if you're new to me and new to my channel, my name's Eric. I'm a realtor with True Living Group here in Michigan. And I help people just like you make that move here to Michigan, whether you're moving in 1 month or 1 year from now. I want to be the best resource for you. So in today's video, we are going to go over exactly why it's becoming impossible to live here in Michigan. And I think you should know about it. And after this video, if moving to Michigan is still in the cards for you, make sure you get a hold of me. All my contact information is down below. So first up, we got to talk about the job market here in the Metro Detroit area, and known as the Motor City. The Motor City was built around the automotive industry. So a lot of manufacturing jobs, a lot of jobs in the big three. That's Ford, Chrysler, GM, and now Chrysler. It was Fiat, now FCA, and then it went to Stellantis. We are ruled by the automakers. And a lot of the stuff that's been going on lately has shifted away from automotive. Automotive had a real mass exodus, a while back, and Michigan really hasn't recovered from that. Southeast Michigan has a big void in the job market. Unemployment rates are still pretty high, and a lot of the trades are looking for work elsewhere. So that's one of the main reasons why so many people who maybe have lived here for so long and, they've gotten laid off from Ford. GM just laid off, another 1,000 people. Stellantis laid off another 1,200 people. This happens in droves. So those individuals are forced to go find work elsewhere. So for that reason, when you look at the job market in Metro Detroit, it can be a little bit rocky from time to time. Employment rates have still been pretty high, relative to the rest of the country. And I kind of equate it to real estate. It's kind of like a roller coaster. It's feast or famine. Either things are really good or they can be really bad. So when it comes to the job market here in Michigan, it leaves a lot to be desired. But on the flip side, there's still a ton of people moving to the Metro Detroit area for jobs, and specifically in tech and healthcare. Education is a big one too. We just actually helped a new school teacher who's going to be working in the Detroit public school system. So the new job opportunities are there. It just depends on the sector. Now, the next reason it's becoming impossible for Michiganders to live here in Michigan is because of the infrastructure. I'm talking about the roads, the bridges, and they're in pretty bad shape. I mean, pretty bad shape. Pretty. I'm not going to lie. There was a radio show in the morning. It's called Mojo in the Morning. I think it's the #1 radio show on iHeart. It's kind of crazy because people call in from all over the country, and they're like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Well, Texas." I'm like, "You're listening to a local radio show in Texas that's here in Detroit." But I remember on the radio show, Mojo was talking about him driving into work one morning, and just a piece of concrete had fallen from the bridge and landed right on his windshield, cracked his whole entire windshield. And then a bunch more people were calling in. They were piling on like, yeah, I've had scrap metal fall from bridges. I've, hit a pothole and my whole entire suspension got bent. And it just goes on and on and on. And every single year, right around February, March timeframe, you'll see Channel 4, Fox 2 News. They're doing reports on how bad the roads are here. So here's the deal. If you want to know, come in closer. If you want to really know how to avoid all this stuff, you got to live in the nicer areas. Okay. Detroit roads are pretty bad. So if you're looking for better roads in some of the smaller cities, maybe north or on the west side of the state, those do exist. And they're beautiful places. And let me know how the roads are in your state. If you're here in the U.S., I've had some people reach out from all over the country, and I absolutely love it. Love connecting with you guys. We've even had people watching from Germany. So shout out to Germany. And next up, we're talking about the cost of living here in Michigan. And this one is getting a little bit out of control. There's some good and some bad, a little bit of ugliness, and I know it's getting out of control in a lot of places. Grocery costs are up across the United States. Gas prices are up. Well, they've fluctuated. Now they're down a little bit. Here in Michigan, if you're going to be working in Michigan, we do have state income tax. So anything you make is going to be taxed 4.05% on your taxable income. And then the other things that we talk about are car insurance, health insurance, utility cost. Grocery prices are kind of level. We're not like the most expensive place for groceries, but we're also not the cheapest. But two things do really stand out that we do talk about is car insurance. Now, there's a conception that Michigan is one of the most expensive states for car insurance. If you're looking at overall cost of vehicle ownership, that might be something that, Michigan ranks a little bit higher. If you're looking at car insurance specifically, consistently ranks right around 34 to 39 on a lot of the articles. And I've done some major research on this because I've been challenged and I keep going into the rabbit hole on the car insurance cost. And it's 34th out of the 50 states is the most affordable here in Michigan. And if we're talking about healthcare here in Michigan, Michigan ranks as the 9th most affordable state for healthcare. Now, there's some other things that may be relevant to you as well. It ranks number 42 in best states overall. It also ranks number 16th in healthcare access, and that's one thing that I think is really important for people who are moving here, right, in and around the Ann Arbor area. Metro Detroit as a whole has some of the most well-known hospitals, and there's a lot of them. You got Trinity, you got U of M, you got Henry Ford, and a lot of these hospitals have specialties. And I grew up in the Metro Detroit area, and I've never been about 10 to 15 minutes from a major hospital. And speaking of rising costs, we got to talk about the housing market. It has a lot of Michiganders thinking am I ever going to be able to afford a house? And recently there was a study done that showed that Metro Detroit as a whole was 40% overvalued in the housing market. It's it might be cheaper than New York or California or Florida where people are coming from, but home prices have shot up. Okay, and what you're getting for, $500,000, $600,000, even, 700,000 is a lot different than what it was even 3 to 4 years ago. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. And the other thing you need to know while we're talking about real estate is the property taxes. Now, property taxes have a lot of Michiganders kind of scratching their head as well. How do I calculate these? They're just so complicated, when it comes to calculating your property taxes. And a lot of people who are moving here don't understand it. So what you see on Zillow or realtor.com, when you kind of scroll down, at the bottom and look at the tax history, what you see there is what the current owner of that home is paying in property taxes. Now, here's where it becomes so complicated. Those taxes are what we call homesteaded, and means that's your primary residence. And there is a law here in Michigan that your property taxes cannot exceed a certain increase per year, and that's on a municipality basis. So whatever your municipality says is the max that you can increase year over year, that's your uncapped tax rate, right? Or your taxable value of your home. Now, when that property changes hands, that uncapped tax rate goes away. The new owner will be subject to the uncapped tax rate. So let's say, for example, you buy $1 million house here in Michigan and you want to know what the taxes are. Well, you can go to this really cool website that I'm going to drop the link down below in. But the easiest way to do it is you take your purchase price, you divide that in half, that becomes your SEV or state equalized value, and then you multiply that by your millage in the city. That little tool will do the math for you, and you can actually see what you will be paying for taxes based on that new value. So taking a look at all things considered, when you have rising housing costs, when you have taxes that are going up, when you have state income taxes, when you have rising cost of a lot of things, it makes a lot of Michiganders kind of think and say, well, is there a better alternative? Is there maybe somewhere that might be a little bit cheaper that I could have a better quality of life? So I do want to leave you with a little bit of positivity, going into 2025 here. And I will say, as a lifelong Michigander, Michigan is a beautiful state. There's a lot of things that, I would rather see different. Do I wish we had a better infrastructure? Heck yeah. I wish we had better roads. I wish we had better bridges. But all things considered, Michigan is a beautiful state. There's so much to do outdoors. There's so much to do, the lake life. You got the Detroit area that's coming back. The downtown's absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't caught my Detroit series on some of the hottest neighborhoods down there, go back and watch that. And, that to me is something to really consider. So if you guys are making that move here to Michigan, I want to be the best resource for you. Make sure you get a hold of me, whether you're moving in 1 month or 1 year from now. All my contact information is down below. And if you want to learn about more things here living in Michigan, then check out these other videos that I got, and I will see you on the next one.